of the Humm Daddies. Also, Heat Check is now under our umbrella with this man, Ashkon's brother, Artie Daveron. I am Jake
What
Lucas.
up, Artie?
I am with Ashkon and, of course, the Paulie Mac, Bay Area radio legend, and now the host of Paulie Mac's Particles with Tony Ryan. So thank you guys for waiting. I know we're a couple minutes late. My bad. So let's give you an overview of today's episode.
Yeah.
It's going to be music oriented. So we're going to count down 5 of our favorite artists, any genre, whatever. It could be solo, could be bands, rock, rap, classical, whatever. And we're going to make a correlation to each artist with a Bay Area sports team or player or year or whatever. Creativity is key. And I believe all 3 of us thrive on creativity. So let's start with a little intro. How are you guys doing today? Paulie, what's going on, man?
Nothing, dude. I'm double dipping today. We had a high noon Paulie Mac Particle show, and we had a really good time today. Dude, what a great time of the year. Usually this is a slow period for sports, but with the World Baseball Classic and NFL free agency and opening day being so close, like it feels like a pretty busy time. So good show. We had good shows all week, and I'm definitely ready to rock and roll. I love this concept, and also love seeing Ashkon, dude. Look at my guy. It's been so long. I was gonna say. It's been a while since we've been in the same room, and Ashkon, like, he swept up the entire Bay Area. Right place, right time with the song tribute you did for the Giants. And like, I think the entire Bay Area will always remember that moment. And your song was the backdrop. It really was. It was the backdrop for that moment. And what a moment it was. It was one of the greatest sports moments in the history of San Francisco. So props to you, Ashkon, because it still lives on, man. People still love that.
Man, Paulie, I really appreciate it. And like, one of my first memories, honestly, is like waking up to just a bombardment of, I think it was like a mix of in-person, like my brother waking me up and other folks just blowing up my phone. And they're talking about you on Murph and Mac.
Yeah.
That was like that was the first sort of inkling that like, the thing was bubbling over.
Yep.
And I don't remember, a lot of that time was like a whirlwind, but it wasn't too long after that I got to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
And it meant a lot just going on the show. And I appreciated the way that you guys just rolled with me and kind of welcomed me into the fray. And just side note, even apart from all of that, I just have to say, that was a special show. I know that things have happened and that you have moved on, but I just want to, while I'm here with you on this pod, I want to like really, really shout out the work that you did and that you've continued to do. And really, like, I'm not just like blowing smoke. I think that it was really something special over those, almost 20 years or however long it was.
Yeah.
Certainly one of, if not my favorite sports talks show of all time. And a big part of it, just to go back with the tie-in, it was like the music that you brought to it, Paulie. And like, I mean, both of you are music guys, but like, that was a big component to it. And just the rapport, it reminded me of like, it had like a titch of like classic AM radio, like throwback in a way that's like really special. And they don't do it like that anymore. And maybe that's, that's all I'll say on that. But I just want to give you some serious props for the work that you have done and continue to do, and say that I'm a fan, man.
Thank you so much, Ashkon. Coming from you, that means a lot. And I agree. It really was. We had a great run. We had a special chemistry. And I've learned this over all my years, guys. You can't fabricate that. You cannot throw 2 people in a room and say, okay, make some magic, make it happen. It doesn't work that way. Like, Murph and I just happened to click, and we were opposite enough so that we kind of balanced each other out. Like, I was bringing things that he wasn't bringing, and vice versa. He was bringing the whole journalism kind of credibility angle, which we needed. And I was bringing the laughs and the music, and it just worked. Like, it worked. And people I think, picked up on it because it was genuine. It was real. It wasn't like some manufactured thing. So I appreciate that, Ashkon. We had a hell of a run. We had a great time, and I appreciate the words, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, one last thing on that before we get in. Let's be real. There probably is no parody Don't Stop Believin' remake without the whole culture of sports remakes that really you and that show put on. So that is not lost on me, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I remember I've known Ashkon Paulie for years. He's a friend of the family. And the minute I knew it was blown up was when Murph and Mac talked about it.
Yeah. Well, you know what's so funny about that is we brought Ashkon's track to the air probably for the first time, but what happened from there was out of our control. Like I remember specifically Gary Radnich like talking about it. And no, Ashkon, don't stop believing. No. You know, and that
was a good Gary. That was a good Gary.
No, I mean, believe me, I got it up close for 20 years. I got it every day. Here he comes, Paulie Mac. Look at him. So, but no, my point is it was an organic thing that just caught fire. Like it just spread like wildfire. But again, it was an authentic kind of commentary from your heart. Like it was from your heart, your head, and it connected with people because it was real and it was catchy. And not to mention, on top of all that, somehow all of a sudden materializing out of thin air is Steve Perry. It was like a perfect storm. I mean, like, and think about it. We haven't seen Steve Perry since those giant World Series games. He went right back underground. Like, he does not do interviews and he does not like surface very often. And the fact that your song, along with the Giants in the World Series, all of a sudden Steve Perry literally became part of it, made it all the more special. It really was. Like, these moments are rare in life when an entire city, an entire community gets on the same page. It's a great moment because you can walk down the street and bond with people you've never met. Oh, Lincecum, all right. You know, see somebody else wearing his shirt. And I miss that. I miss that kind of connection in town. Yeah.
It gets thrown around a lot, but I'm almost just compelled to say you had to be there. Yeah. It was so electric. Like, and emotional. The whole thing was like, it was like emotional whirlwind mixed with like big party energy. And the team was just so like, just such a like wild rogue, almost like Major League, the movie team. Like,
I have one last memory real quick to throw out there because it's in line with what we're talking about. I remember, first of all, my two sons were literally little kids during those years. Now they're like college grads and everything. But I remember taking my son out of the yard one night. It was after one of the Braves games early on, and we were leaving the yard, and the atmosphere in the street, it was like Mardi Gras in San Francisco, and all these lowriders came pulling up on Third. I'm dead serious. They drove down from the Mission, and we were at a red light. We were crossing the street at 2nd and King, and all of a sudden, all the lowriders started jumping, and my son was like, "Dad, what is that? What are they doing?" And I'm like, "Well, that's how they celebrate, man." So it was just like all these great kind of cultures and people coming together. And that's, to me, that's sports at its best, when it just brings everybody together. There's no more divide. You're not thinking about politics. You're not thinking about all the stuff that we're always at odds with each other about. And sports is one of the few things that can do that. And the Giants did that big time during those years. They brought everybody together, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So that was a great intro, getting reacquainted. I love to be a matchmaker. Let's get started here with the music. So I'll do it. I'll count down my number 5, just to give everyone kind of a, an overview of what we're doing here. I introduced it earlier. Top 5 artists and connections to Bay Area figures, teams, or players, etc. So I'm going to start with Ice Cube, and I'm gonna lean into my youth here. I'm gonna go with things that were kind of formative for me because it's so hard. I can't do my top 5 favorite acts of all time. That's impossible. So I'm gonna lean into my teenage years that kind of shaped me, because the music you listen to then, I think, kind of stays with you forever.
It does.
It's ingrained.
Sure.
Yep.
And Ice Cube for me started before I was a teenager, thanks to Paulie. I have a brother that's 9 years older than me. Ashkon is aware of him. And he would dub me tapes from CDs. So I'd have NWA as like an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
playing that. Playing that tape to my friends at school. in second grade and shit. So Ice Cube was ingrained in me. Think about this. For over a 5-year period, he had Straight Outta Compton, then left the group, left NWA, did America's Most Wanted, Death Certificate, Kill at Will, Lethal Injection, and The Predator. Like all of those albums and stuff, 5-year period.
Crazy.
Unbelievable songs. Like early Ice Cube is what I'm focusing on here, obviously.
Yeah.
You know. And I would compare him to none other than Draymond Green.
Okay. Okay.
So, you know, we're thinking NWA. He's kind of Michigan State Draymond, and then he goes on to the Dubs, becomes a prominent figure in American culture. You know, he speaks truth to power. And Ice Cube in his early years was brutal. I mean, just in your face.
Shout out No Vaseline. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ashkon, I remember I was at a bar for Ashkon, I think it was Artie and Zach's 40th, and Jason Alabanza and you were hanging out, and I rapped the entire lyric of No Vaseline to you, and you're like, whoa, I didn't remember it being this racy.
That sounds about right.
Joe said it all so you can listen to it. But yeah, just the hardest diss track of all time. So yeah, and then I'll compare Draymond kind of Ice Cube going into movies, kind of stopped rapping after, you know, that huge success.
Okay, sure. I like it. I see where you're going.
Draymond becomes a podcaster, TNT.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be called Selling Out, but now it's just, I guess, smart business play. And, you know, they've kind of softened over the years. Draymond still gets in his little, you know, goes on his rants and stuff and gets, he doesn't get ejected as much, but gets a lot of tea still. But, you know, he's softer than he used to be. And he's not as good as he used to be, same as Ice Cube behind a microphone. So that's how I'm going to start this one. Ice Cube and Draymond Green.
Okay. And I have a quick question. I have a quick technical question. So on the screen that I'm looking at, Jake, at the bottom right, I have a chat with the number of people in the chat. If I click that, will I get access, or am I going to blow myself off the show? I want to be careful.
No, you can click the chat.
Okay, let me see what happens here.
And by the way, shout out John Joseph. I saw he was waiting for a long time. So
okay, hold on.
Thanks for popping through. Rags.
Okay, rock and roll. Sweet.
NorCal Refrigeration.
Ashkon, you take it, Ashkon. Go for it, man.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go. This is, for some reason, kind of one of the first ones that came to my head. Try not to give too many qualifiers because I don't think it's perfect. None of them will be. I'm a big Beatles guy.
Nice.
I love the Beatles.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, who's going to be the Beatles? There's a lot of different directions that I could go with this. I'm not attributing like a team with, I'm not going like a John, Paul, George, and Ringo, but just as an entity.
Yes.
I'm like, who can even compare to something as massive and all-encompassing? And for me, I went with the 80s 49ers, just as a whole entity, just because growing up in the 80s, it just felt like it was greater than the sum of its parts. There was a magic to it that felt almost ineffable. It was something that it was almost like fiction, how kind of perfect it all kind of felt like it came out. So, you know, you have, Beatlemania and just the big pop culture phenomenon of that. And, you know, some of this is, I think, also colored by my young eyes. I'm growing up and just that gold and red just seemed so much larger than life. And the way that Montana played, the smoothness of the offense, it just felt almost like this is beyond just some guys playing a game. It feels like there is something greater at work. I mean, I don't want to speak. It seems like hyperbole, and maybe it is, but I'm like, you feel like there's a higher power or something involved with making all of that come together in the way that it did. Just, that's what I'm going to say about that. So that's where I'm going first. The Beatles and the 80s Niners and their 4 Super Bowls.
Bravo, man. You know what's crazy is I'm going to take the baton from Ashkon and basically continue that same idea because
Let's go.
I swear. So, dude, I wrote down some notes for each kind of topic, and you and I have a very similar kind of view of this. Hand to God, I swear to God, this is what I have. I have this. Now, I didn't kind of narrow it down to the 80s 49ers, but I know exactly what you're saying. There was like a mystique. There was a magic to those years. You expected them to win. They did. Joe Montana, what a big game quarterback. And I wrote down, I'm going to assign the Rolling Stones to the San Francisco 49ers because I wrote Rolling Stones, rock and roll royalty, which they are. Like they really, there's really no other way to describe the Stones. I mean, I saw them last year and they were freaking amazing. Like it's
amazing.
It's hard to even understand what they're doing at this point. Mick Jagger is like 81 years old and he's running around the stage singing. I'm like, how I can't do that. Like I'm 40 years younger than this guy and I can't do that. So I started thinking about the idea of royalty and then which of the Bay Area teams could be considered royalty. And I think that's the 49ers for all the reasons you said, Ashkon. The dominant run from like 81 to the late 90s, really, where they pretty much won the division every year. They were always in the conversation for the Super Bowl. They brought home 5. There were 5-0 in Super Bowl trips back then, as we all know. And then there's the idea that like you could change the players, or in the Rolling Stones case, you could change musicians in and out, and another all-time great would step in. I'll give you an example. Like so you go from Joe and Jerry Rice to Steve Young and Jerry Rice, kind of like Rolling Stones. Mick Taylor played on all those great Stones albums, Sticky Fingers, Exile on Main Street. He leaves the band. Okay, come on in, Ronnie Wood. Now we're doing Miss You and Shattered and all these great like later day things. So it was almost like they were interchangeable. And when I think royalty in rock and roll, I think Rolling Stones, and I think royalty in Bay Area sports, that's the 49ers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might have a 49ers as a 80s 49ers and the whole team in general comp as well later. But
there's going to be some overlap. I was thinking about reaching out to see about overlap, but I figured we could, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so I'll go number 4 on my list is a man who headed all these bands. Also a huge part of my youth. His name's Glenn Danzig. He was in the Misfits, Sam Hain, and Danzig. So I first got into him. My buddies who Ashkon knows, I guess Ashkon will know whoever I'm talking about because we work together. But Aki and Kumar and Andrew Capistrano were in this punk band when we were in junior high called Off Balance. And we went to, I wasn't really into punk like they were. We went to the Gilman Club all the time.
Nice.
In Berkeley. Grew up there, went there from ages like 13 to 17 pretty regularly. And the one thing like a lot of these punk bands were missing were melody and, strong vocals. I'm into vocals and melody. My favorite band, they are an honorable mention, I guess, but The Doors was like one of the first rock bands I loved. And I loved Jim Morrison's voice. And then I found this dude, Glenn Danzig, in this band, The Misfits, and it sounded like Jim Morrison over, punk music.
Nice.
And it was just mind blowing. I was like, I can get into this shit now for sure. Because I like the musicality of metal, and I just like the driving kind of, rhythmic, pounding of good punk music. And so that I fell in love. And, I was also creatively kind of a nutcase with influenced by like Tarantino movies and stuff, and those Misfits lyrics are
yeah.
And shout out to JJ and Don Peralta, big fans also of Misfits and Danzig. And then Sam Hain was kind of a filler between Misfits and then Danzig. I like full on. I still can listen to the first 7 Danzig albums like all the way through.
Nice.
I think they're brilliant. He does straight on, just like Rick Rubin produced metal on the first one. Second one's like swampy blues. And then How the Gods Kill is kind of more theatrical. Danzig 4 is an absolute masterpiece with all kinds of shit going on. So yeah. And then to relate Danzig, that's kind of a tough one. I talked to Dom about it. He mentioned Brian Wilson, who I was kind of thinking, just kind of a metal figure. For the Giants. If we're talking stature, I'd say Wendell Kim. That's one that I'll pull the
coach.
I don't know if you guys know Danzig's like 5'3".
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I still wouldn't mess with him. He'll freaking rip your throat out. You know what I mean? I don't care how little Danzig is. I'm steering clear of that dude, man.
Hey, Wendell Kim's a bad MFer too. Don't forget about him.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, and then you got like Kevin Green or Bill Romanowski or something. Just those kind of crazy MFers. You know, like a crazy linebackers and D linemen of the Niners.
Some good pulls. Some folks I haven't thought about for a minute. I like those Bay Area sports pulls. Wendell Kim, Romanowski. Haven't thought about those guys in a minute.
There you go. Yeah. So, that's it. My number 4 is Danzig and a bunch of randos. So hand it to you, Ash.
All right.
Okay. Let's go. Let's go. While we're kind of a little bit on like a punk train. Growing up, also going to Gilman Street. Punk was a big part of like my growing up and getting into music around 94, 95. And while, some would say there may be a far cry from punk rock in 2026, Green Day forever holds a really, really important place in my heart.
Yeah.
They get a lot of flack. I think they also get a lot of love. It's been an interesting band to have as a band that I've just rode with basically since 94. And some cringy moments along the way, but overall, I think they're an incredible band. And this is a little bit of a stretch, but it happened. I'm using it based on a conversation I had some years back, but I see a overlap and a comparison between Billy Joe as Green Day's frontman and Steph Curry of our Golden State Warriors. Now, just bear with me for a second. My connection is that they're both a little bit like clowns and showmen and very playful about the way they command the crowd. They if you've ever seen a Green Day show, one of the things that really, aside from just the catchy tunes and the kind of energetic, melodic, kind of driving sound that you talked about, Jake, with the Misfits, but then taking that even more melodic, kind of like, a lot of folks, music writers have said like, Green Day was coming out playing Gilman Street like they were John and Paul with like their harmonies, and so even another layer of melodicness. But yeah, there's something about their live show when I saw them. They were a replacement for, I don't know who it was, I can't remember exactly. Had to cancel the Lollapalooza '94 tour.
That was Nirvana.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Nirvana was Nirvana was supposed to do that tour, and then Kurt was gone by the time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I remember that's why that happened. Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, and certainly like I was a huge Nirvana guy before that, and like deeply like, just to put a timeline on it, I'm in 8th grade. Yep. I couldn't have had more feelings associated with like my favorite band at the time, Nirvana. What happened? Like I wrote a paper on it, like in some ways, I'm like, as an adult, looking back on that, I'm like, oh yeah, that was like a big thing to process.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think in some ways Green Day really filled that void. I mean, they certainly did that culturally in a way. Like it felt like with the rise of them, it's sort of like things moved a little bit away from grunge and that like, Pacific Northwest movement into something different. And it was more upbeat. It was a different way of processing, I think, a lot of the angst that grunge did. It said like, yeah, it was still processing angst, but it was faster, more melodic. I remember just like even them having short hair was like so different on MTV at the time.
Yeah.
But back to the comparison with Steph, like, both tiny. Well, Steph's not that tiny in real life, but on the court,
right.
On the court, a little bit smaller. And yeah, so playful. When I saw Green Day at Lollapalooza '94, that was sort of the moment. I remember being like, 13, 14-year-old kid and leaving and being like, I think I have a new favorite band, which is so like tender and cringe to like remember, but I like really remember that. Yeah. And it was the way that he commanded the crowd and how playful he was. And obviously like Woodstock 94, like the mud fight was a big thing for folks of our era. That was like all over MTV, and the way that he kind of was playful. And I think that they're both, you know, just to think about that playful kind of showman energy. My wife Nika always talks about how Steph Curry is like, this is a deep cut. We're going away from the sports and music world to a Shakespeare character, Puck of Midsummer Night's Dream. Nice. Puck is like this little sort of like forest nymph that like a fairy person that like basically makes all of the people fall in love and is sort of like the ringleader of the story, but does it all very like in this kind of almost like there's a mischief behind it and a playfulness. So this is it's a stretch, but for me, that was the tie-in. Also, like, I don't know, maybe my favorite Bay Area athlete of all time, and maybe my favorite Bay Area artist of all time. There you go. Green Day, Steph Curry, Billy Joe and Steph Curry. I'm sticking to my
I played Oberon in a play of Midsummer Night's Dream.
Let's go.
I tell you what, man, this is like, if we were going to run a relay race, I think Ashkon and Paulie Mac are like the perfect tandem to be handing the baton off. Again, like Ashkon set up my next take beautifully with a lot of the things he said. And I agree with a lot of what you said. Like, Green Day is a great live band. That your description of them was really spot on. Now, so I'm going to take the aforementioned band Nirvana, and I am going to assign them to the World Series era San Francisco Giants. And
I was trying to find where Nirvana fit. I love that you did it.
Okay,
bring it home.
I got a couple of different lines I'm going to draw here. For starters, they were both just unlikely underdogs in both of their fields. Like Nirvana, they're not pinups. They're not good. They're like, I thought Kurt Cobain, they're all handsome and stuff, but they weren't like pretty boys. They didn't get there based on their looks. Nobody assumed anything from this trio from Seattle that was playing in garages and little bars in Seattle. And all of a sudden they blew up. They became the biggest band in the world. Nobody expected that, including them. And when I think about the Giants, in every single postseason series, they were underdogs. Nobody expected the Giants to be there. Forget about the World Series. They weren't even supposed to beat the Braves. They weren't supposed to beat the Phillies. They weren't supposed to beat Texas. Then they weren't supposed to be St. Louis and Detroit and just on and on. And they continued to kind of defy the odds. And when I think about like the crown jewel of that first World Series that came to San Francisco, I think about Tim Lincecum. And the way that Kurt Cobain and Lincecum, whether they liked it or not, they became the faces of each kind of enterprise. Like Kurt Cobain was Nirvana. They were his songs. It was his voice. You were just drawn to him. And Timmy was the same way. He was reluctant in the spotlight, the same way Kurt Cobain was. But it's sometimes like those kind of dudes who would rather not be in the spotlight, they kind of get pushed in there, and then they have to deal with that for better or worse. And I can tell you this, like, I've seen probably over 1,000 different bands in my life, and Kurt Cobain is one of the only guys. There's only a handful of these dudes I can point to, and Kurt Cobain was one of them, where when I saw them in New York City at the Roseland Ballroom on the In Utero tour. When that dude just walked on stage before they even started playing, he walked on stage, and I was like, oh my God, what? He just had this thing coming off him. Like there was just this aura coming off him. And you could tell right away. I was like, okay, this is the real deal right here. This guy, there's something special coming off him. And Tim Lincecum the same way. Like when Timmy, I have a vivid memory of being at one of the KNBR Fan Fests, and it was in 2011, the year after the first World Series. The crowd surged towards Timmy. He had to have a police escort just to get on stage with Murph and I for the interview, because the fans were like bum rushing him. It was totally out of control. I've never seen that before or since. And it was that same kind of reaction that Nirvana kind of got from audiences. People just lost their minds when they were playing. And Lincecum had that too. He was a reluctant star, but he had this massive thing coming off him. And they were both kind of brief comets shooting across the sky. Like Nirvana had a short career, but it's immortal. Like the generations, from now are going to be talking about Kurt Cobain and Nirvana. And Tim Lincecum the same way. He was dominant, but it was a short window. Like he kind of streaked across the sky and he was gone, and Nirvana's gone. So underdogs, not expected to be there, that incredible aura coming off their, the faces of each. And so the Giants are going to get Nirvana from me.
Love it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's so good. And I can't believe that show you saw in New York.
Yeah, it was a hell of a show, man. And it was great. They were great. And I remember walking in, I was like, I didn't expect much because he had just like OD'd shortly before the show I saw. So I knew his health wasn't great. And I'm like, oh boy, this could be like a sloppy gig. And it wasn't. They were amazing. They blew me away. So, and I'm lucky. I realized I'm lucky I got to see him.
Yeah, that's amazing.
They're the reason I learned guitar and really like became a musician at the end of the day. If I had to like really pin it on a band.
I still really wish he was here just to see what he'd be doing musically. I guarantee you he'd still be playing, but who knows what style he'd be doing. Like I really wish we could have grown up more with that guy, but I'll take what we have. I'll take what we have, I
remember one of his later interviews, he talked about his like admiration for bands like REM that had evolved and just doing Unplugged, and it just made me it hurts. I think there was going to be a lot of really amazing music that could have come.
Yeah, one of my favorite tracks ever is Jesus Don't Want Me for a Sunbeam on the Unplugged. It was beautiful.
What an amazing performance that Unplugged performance is. It's
insane.
Just so
incredible.
So amazing that one live acoustic show could add so much to their resume.
Yeah.
Like it really does. It just shows something and just, man.
All right. Well, I'll transition from a very cool band to a guy that is considered not very cool anymore to some people.
Oh, I know where you're going.
I discovered him. I don't know. It's one of the two guys you might think of.
Okay.
I discovered him when I was 4 years old. Caught my eye, and that was the only. I liked him and the Beatles as the only rock music, and then it was all gangster rap until I found like the Doors when I was maybe 12. His name's Elvis Presley. Is my number 3.
Oh, Elvis Presley. I thought you were going somewhere else. Anyway, keep going.
And what can you say about Elvis? Everyone knows who Elvis is. It was just, I fell in love with the guy as a very young, like a toddler, and never kind of went away from him. And I mean, he had this crazy career that has been studied and shown in documentaries, and there's just so many facets to it, but he's larger than life. I'm going to compare him to the other king in my life, Barry Bonds.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Just two massive figures.
Yeah.
And they're beloved by a lot of people. And Elvis isn't really despised like a lot of people despise Barry Bonds, but he's kind of disrespected by some, crowds because he didn't write his own songs. They say he stole black music. I mean, there's a whole discussion about that. But we don't have enough time to get into that, I'm sure. But I just think they're comparable in that they started they're young, wily, thin, a bass dealer and a dancer, shaking his hips, singing, just kind of came out like a bat out of hell, and Barry Bonds kind of took the league by storm. And then later on in their, they're both, you got PEDs, you got Elvis on drugs, and it was operatic what they both did in those later stages. Nice. Elvis was literally singing opera. And there's some amazing vocals on the stuff he did later in his career when he's kind of out of it.
Yeah.
The guy sounds like Pavarotti. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And Barry Bonds was, what an operatic rise and fall that was. And he's our king in the Bay. To me, I still respect everything he did. Everyone was on PDs at that point. And, Bonds was a hard guy to like, I guess, on the national stage. I was a kid. I'm in love with him. Always will be, and always have been. I'm just kind of putting those two together. And,
good one. Hey, real quick with both of you guys, how do you guys feel? I'm a fan. I liked it. I thought it was good. I'm curious to get your takes. What did you guys think of the Austin Butler Elvis movie from a couple of years ago?
I love it.
I never caught it.
Oh, dude, check it out. Check it out. I thought it was pretty good. You liked it, Jake?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It made me like Austin Butler a lot. I thought he was great.
Me too. Yeah.
And Baz Luhrmann has an Elvis concert with all this like new footage and new interviews and stuff in theaters right now. I saw it in IMAX a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
And that's really good too.
Love that.
All right, Ashkon, you're up.
Okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna go with a little bit of overlap here, and I had a Barry Bonds as well.
Nice.
My Barry Bonds is also an artist that at one time I really, really loved, and I think so did many, many people. And times have changed and things have happened, controversies and such. Kanye West. Kanye West. One of my favorite artists of all time. Have not really been able to ride with him over the past several. Oh wow, there it is.
Nice,
look at that.
Okay. Nice.
I've not really liked his music or his vibe for several albums and years. I do have a lot of, I think, empathy for what he's going through. I don't like, I know there's been some things that have come out of his mouth that are, pretty deplorable, but all in all, I see him sort of as a, I don't know, just a sympathetic, almost like cautionary tale of just a whole beast of that level of success. And, but yeah, so I'm not going to speak too much on the comparisons I'm seeing, but I think some of the like fraught relationship with the media that Kanye and Barry had. Kanye also classically has the line on, I want to say it's his graduation album. And here's another hit, Barry Bonds.
That's a whole song, Ash. That's a whole song.
Another tie-in.
Yeah.
And just like also like ego in a way that like some maybe found off-putting, and also is a big part of the whole success and part of, I think, I think they're both in some ways testaments to how like, sometimes that, what we call ego, there can be an out of balance version of it that sort of, I don't know, feels a little off-putting and icky, but also that can really be what it takes to talk you up, to become, it's a lot of the folks with the biggest egos are actually fighting deep, deep insecurities. And so that's the way that it looks outwardly. I sense a little bit of that from both of them. I never, just personally, I really never had any level of negative feelings towards Barry Bonds from beginning to end, really. Like, I know that there's been stories and things, but overall, from my distance, I think he got a bad rap from the media, and I don't know. Maybe Paulie, you had a more up close and personal seat to that. I'm not, but I just, I'm a Barry guy. He's amazing. I think it sucks that we can't just appreciate his greatness untainted. I understand why. I do understand why, but I think what he was able to do and how he did it, and every now and again I'll make a gratitude list and just things that I appreciate, or maybe a few things that I'll remember in the event of not being here anymore. And literally one of the things that has gone on that list is Barry Bonds' swing just hitting a home run out of Pac-Bell Park.
Yeah.
And I'm calling it Pac-Bell and AT&T and whatever it really used to be called. Anyway, so Kanye and Barry.
Well said. Wow, that was interesting. Good one, Ashkon. Good one. I like all this stuff has been great. All right, next up for me, I'm going to go I'm going kind of broad strokes here, guys. I will kind of align a couple of players with a couple of these musicians, but by and large, I'm going band connected to a team. That's kind of the way I'm approaching this. So the Golden State Warriors, I am going to kind of connect them to in my opinion, one of the greatest bands to ever come out of the San Francisco Bay Area. And that is Sly and the Family Stone. And I'm going to kind of draw a few parallels here. And first thing I want to say about Sly and the Family Stone is they were a first in that. And I really, really got into them within the last like 15 years. And I cannot recommend taking a headfirst dive into their catalog enough. I would start with There's a Riot Going On. Start with Stand. Find their set from Woodstock. It's probably the high point of the entire weekend. But Sly Stone was like the consummate showman. Like when he was on, there was really nobody better. And he influenced everybody, including Miles Davis. Miles Davis was paying attention to what Sly Stone was doing. Stevie Wonder was paying attention to what Sly Stone and Sly and the Family Stone were doing. And Sly broke down a lot of barriers in that they were the first like really successful band to have diversity across the stage, like meaning men and women, black and white. And everybody in that band at one time or another would take a lead vocal, would take a solo. So even like the trumpet player, Cindy, she had her moments where she would take the stage. And also, you know what I always thought was really cool? It was an all black band, except for the drummer, who was a white dude. Like, and then you had men and women. So that kind of diversity is hard to find in music and popular music. But I always felt that way going to Warriors games, especially in Oakland, like the most diverse crowd.
Yeah.
The most diverse crowd in Bay Area sports, in my opinion, where you would see everything: white, black, Asian, Hispanic, Latino. It was like just a really great mixture of people. And I think they've lost a little bit of that coming to Chase Center. Like you still do, it's still there. But it's not as widespread as it was in Oakland. And there was just something really cool about that to me. Like white guys grooving with black guys, Asian dudes grooving with Hispanic guys. Like everybody was there for the same reason. And there was no BS. And I love that kind of diversity. And Sly Stone, coolest guy on planet Earth back in the 70s, that's Steph Curry. I mean, Steph Curry, watching Steph Curry, when Steph Curry is putting on a show and he's doing his magic act, it's like there is nothing. I can't equate it to anything else in sports. When Steph Curry decides to take over a game, or like what he did in the Paris Olympics, he had the entire world in the palm of his hand, like watching the Steph Curry show. And Sly Stone was like that. Like, I mean, when you see their set from Woodstock, everybody from Pete Townsend on down has said like the best band of that weekend was Sly and the Family Stone, even though Hendrix was there, The Who was there. Ultimately, Sly kind of won that weekend. And so based on the diversity, the showmanship, the fact that everybody from different walks of life could kind of groove in the same room, that's my kind of connection there. So Golden State Warrior basketball, their fan base, and Sly and the Family Stone. There you go.
Love it.
Yeah, that's so good, Paulie. I went to so many games at Oracle and the Oakland Arena before, the move to Chase, and it was a different vibe, man.
It was.
Even late stage Oracle got a little price people out.
It did. You're right. Yeah.
And just those days of watching Larry Hughes or, even up to the We Believe guys.
Yeah.
But back in the day when we were young, Chris Gatling and, Montego Cummings or
a little Troy Murphy. Sure.
Come on.
Yeah. Artie. Ashkon's little brother Artie and I went to a few games together. He would always bring signs for like Donnell Marshall was his favorite player.
Nice. Yeah.
One time he had a sign that said Donnell is God. And then Jim Barnett went up to him and said, "That's sacrilegious."
Totally.
It was good times over at Oakland Coliseum.
Little quick thing on Sly Stone.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of you caught the documentary that Questlove did a few years ago, Summer of Soul.
Amazing.
So good.
Amazing. Yeah.
About that festival in Harlem that happened right around the same time as Woodstock. And the way that they profiled Sly Stone actually made me do a Sly Stone deep dive. Like I'd always heard him, but I was just like, whoa, the way they framed them as an act and the way they came off live, just like you were talking about, it made me so intrigued. So it made me lean in. And
well, I got something for you, Ashkon. And I've seen it. It's Summer Soul is amazing, and the movie ends with Sly Stone doing their setup in Harlem. It's incredible. But dude, if you haven't seen this, I'm talking to everybody. I recommend this for everybody.
Yeah,
Questlove just made a Sly Stone documentary.
Oh shit!
Yep, and it's called Sly Lives, and it is on. I believe it's on Hulu. So
amazing.
Look for it, and
I'll definitely check it out.
It's as good as A Summer of Soul. It's just an entire film about Sly, and it was made by Questlove once again. So check it out.
Yeah, amazing. R.I.P.
Yeah,
awesome.
Totally.
And by the way, Ashkon, I just wanted to say before I forget, Kanye is one of my favorites of all time too, as the poster indicates. But that's a complicated issue, and I'm doing youthful stuff here. So. My number 2, let's move on, is also Warriors related for good reason. And I think you guys will dig this. It is the group who is my favorite hip hop rap group of all time, favorite hip hop rap personalities of all time, Outkast. And I fell in love with them at 8, 9 years old as well. My brother burned me a tape for Southern Playalistic Cadillac Funky Music. And that album, to this day, I can listen to the whole thing, track to every single track. I used to go to sleep to it. Like, I'd put it on my tape player and fall asleep as an 8 or 9 year old.
Amazing.
And I'm comparing Andre 3000 and Big Boy to the Splash Brothers.
Hey,
and Clay Thompson. And just also a lot of the bands we're talking about and groups we're talking about, Beatles, the Nirvana, Green Day, even in their early period, the amount of epic work they did in such a short time is insane.
Yeah.
You know, like I'd say the late 60s, early 70s, and then the early 90s kind of have that in common, where these like just forces came out and crushed it for a few years.
Yeah.
You know, Outkast with that, after that first album, they had ATLians, then Aquemini, which is an absolute classic.
An amazing run. Really an amazing run.
Yeah. And so just, you know, those are my 2 guys, and they just put out hit after hit like the Splash Brothers. And I think it's pretty, you know, pretty self-explanatory. The Splash Brothers and Outkast. That's what I got for you.
Love it.
Yeah.
Is it me?
I do.
Yeah.
Hey. All right. I'm going to go with the great, maybe like one of the most prized living musicians in the world right now, the great Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Just talk about runs. My God.
Right.
His run from what is it? Music of My Mind through, I don't know, that 4 album run, Inversions, and Songs in the Key of Life. There's another one I'm missing in there.
Intervision, maybe that's in there somewhere.
Yeah. Amazing. Anyway, so Stevie Wonder, unbelievable. Sometimes I get literal anxiety thinking about Stevie Wonder and like Paul McCartney being gone, and like, can we just appreciate them enough?
Yeah.
I don't know if we can't. I just have so much appreciation. Joni Mitchell, like just some of these like folks from the old school that are just so fucking special that like I can already see the outpouring, and I know like they've been as loved as you almost can be in real time. Like, I don't know what to do. It's more a testament to how special some of these folks are.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, Stevie Wonder. And so for Stevie Wonder, I'm going with the Godfather, Willie Mays.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's good.
Willie Mays. I had the opportunity to meet Willie one time in Scottsdale, and just like the absolute reverence just emanating from around him, just similar to I think what I feel and think of when I think about Stevie. Been able to see Stevie Wonder a couple of times live, unbelievable show. But yeah, just both like sort of old school generation kind of before me, and just like sitting there at like the top of this sort of like legacy of musicians and baseball alike. So that's where I'm going.
That's great.
We're getting a little short on time. Yeah. Once I get talking sports and music, there's just so much to say. Like, I have a great story.
This could easily be 3 hours.
I'm just sprinkling. Okay, really, really quick. I'm just going to say I saw Stevie Wonder at Outside Lands some years back, and I remember like Jack White was before him, and it was like a good set. I remember being like, "Yeah, this is cool." I was like kind of like trying to get into it, and I was like, "Yeah, he's soloing and whatever," and like, I'm like, "This is cool." And then Stevie Wonder came out, and this is like, you know, Stevie Wonder later years, and just how good it sounded and how amazing the songs were. It was just so big and undeniable. And it was just amazing. I was like, oh, you don't have to try to get into this. It takes over your whole body. There's nothing cognitive about it.
Yeah.
I'm just vibing. And it was dope to see him in an outdoor space and folks, enjoying their accoutrements and just vibing out to Stevie Wonder. It was a hell of a vibe.
Dude, tremendous. Another great one, Ashkon. Another great one. All right, I'm going to go as we are in the tail end here, the home stretch. I'm going to go with a Bay Area team that no longer exists, but someone needs to shout them out. I know Ashkon is over in Oakland, and I got to say, I've said this before, my heart bleeds for the Oakland sports fan. It really does. I mean, even losing the Warriors, yes, they're still here, but we talked about it. There is a big difference between the atmosphere of the Warriors game now as when it was back in Oakland. I think Steph Curry is a huge Oakland fan. You'll still see him wearing Oakland gear. He still speaks very fondly of Oracle Arena. No, but the team I want to focus on is the Oakland Raiders. And I want to connect the Oakland Raiders to the band Metallica.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll explain this a little bit.
Oh, that's great.
Well, because now I'm a fan. I'm a big Metallica fan, and I am not like other 49er fans who hated the Raiders. I was always kind of cool with the Raiders. I thought it was good when the Raiders were relevant and competing and having good seasons. It was just better for the NFL and better for Bay Area sports to get that rivalry going with Niner fans and stuff. But in the way that I think some people that are the uninitiated who look at Metallica and be like, oh my God, it's so loud, it's so aggressive, their fans are crazy. Like, it's a little scary from the outside. If you're not part of the Metallica family and you've never done it, it's like, I don't know if I'm ready for that, to dive into that pit and have people jumping over me and stuff. It's same with the Oakland Raiders. I think people used to look at their tailgates, the gorilla mask, the spikes, Darth Vader's walking around, the players on the field were crazy. It was like kind of intimidating, like, well, I don't know. Am I going to be safe if I go to a Raiders game? And I think there's a similarity there. Like, there's a little bit of apprehension with Metallica. There's a little bit of apprehension with the Raiders. But once you kind of dip the toe into that pool, and I went to a bunch of Raider games, like, their fan base, dude, they would embrace you and take you in like family. And it's the same way with Metallica. They actually call their fan base the Metallica family. And they really kind of cultivate that. They take care of their audience like they're family members. And the Raiders, their fan base, even to this day, it is like a huge extended family. There's a lot of loyalty there. I think the Bay Area, I miss it. I miss like driving up 880 and seeing that madhouse over there, like on game day. Their fans were crazy. And also the fact that Metallica played in the parking lot of a Raiders game before the AFC Championship, the one against Baltimore that they lost, unfortunately. But Metallica set up on a flatbed truck and played in the parking lot. So there really was an actual real-life connection, too. So I think Raiders, Metallica, they're both loud, they're both unruly, and they're both like global brands that people recognize. I think it just makes sense to me. Metallica and the Raiders. Yeah.
Best one of the show. That's
wow.
You nailed it there.
Thank you, bro.
That's just such a good comparison.
Yeah.
So strong. The energy. I'm just thinking about the Raiders, silver and black, and then like the Black Album from Metallica, the aesthetic, the vibe. It just you nailed it with that.
Thanks, bro.
They go hand in hand. That's an undeniable one. Also, shout out to Ashkon and I went to El Cerrito High. Metallica, I believe, lived in El Cerrito for a while. And
the Metallica, what did they call it? I think they called it the Metallica Mansion. And it was not a mansion. It was like a little shack they all lived in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I wandered into a band's practice there once that they said was the old Metallica practice space, but I doubt
it. Nice.
Fooling a little kid. But okay. Let's wrap it up.
Let's finish strong. Here we go. Okay.
Well, this is the one Ashkon probably guessed. Paulie probably guessed too. My number one overall is U2. I'm a diehard. And they've been with me also since I was a teenager. I've been a huge fan. And I'm going back to what you guys were talking about, the 80s Niners. I mean, you got War, Unforgettable Fire, Joshua Tree, and Rattle and Hum. You got 81, 84, 88, and 89. I mean, those kind of all line up.
Hey, nice. I like that.
It's good.
Nice tie-in.
Yeah. Dominate the era. And then you got Octung Baby. You know, Paulie and I both love pop. You got 94. And then, just kind of they moved. They're not as successful as they were in the 80s, but they're still around. They're still popular. They're still doing their thing. So I'm going Bono and Co., Edge. Shout out Adam Clayton. Happy birthday. Larry Mullen Jr.
Yeah.
And, the 49ers, 80s to current days, I would say. And Joe Montana and Bono, not many more popular guys in the 80s than those two guys.
No question. I like that a lot. I like that one, Jake. Good call, bro.
Thanks.
Love it.
Yeah,
all right. I'm gonna go with the great Nina Simone.
Wow.
One of my favorite artists of all time. I think
Wow.
In some ways, like a little bit like not talked about in terms of those top tier conversations enough in terms of like great American artists of all time. Like she's right up there with Stevie for me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with Nina Simone and Colin Kaepernick.
Wow, dude. Ooh, wow. Okay.
And Nina Simone once said, it's an artist's job to reflect the times. And she got a lot of flack in her career for kind of shifting from just doing like musical theater covers to doing political music. There was a cost to it. But long term, it's a big part of her legacy. And I think for Colin to do what he did when he did it was just massively, massively brave. I think the repercussions for that were unfair. And I just have the utmost respect for him being able to sort of stand in that truth in the midst of, I think, pressure from all over the place, including his multi-gazillion dollar workplace and the rest of the country. So that's my comparison.
Dude, this has been great. And you're right, guys. This could easily be a 3-hour job. And by the way, next time, I was telling these guys, just for the audience real quick before we say goodbye, that next time we're dragging Rod Brooks in, whether he likes it or not, I'll apprehend him. If I have to, I'll apprehend him and I'll make sure that he joins us. So next time we'll have a 4 spot and we'll stretch it out even more. So
sounds good.
Final,
real quick, Paul.
Yeah.
1 sec. Ashkon, do you know who sampled "Strange Fruit" and "See Murder" down for my?
Ooh, that's a good question.
"Strange Fruit" and "See Murder" sampled on the same song by Kanye West.
Okay.
Yeah.
Respect. And Nina Simone is briefly seen in Summer of Soul as well. She did a set at that festival. And they saw her playing piano. She's an incredible piano player too. Okay, last one of the day for me, and then we can say goodbye, is work with me on this one a little bit, you guys. I want to talk about the San Jose Sharks, and I want to talk about a band that I think not enough people talk about anymore, but their fingerprints are still all over the place. You talk about a Green Day, bands like that. And the band that I want to put a spotlight on is the Ramones out of New York City. And I look at the NHL the same way I look at the Ramones. Like, they're both great like the NHL to me and the San Jose Shark fan base, they're so hardcore. They're so loyal. It's almost cult-like. No disrespect to their fans. I happen to be one. Great game yesterday in Boston, by the way. But it's one of those things where you go to a Shark game and you're like, damn, this is like some of the best live sports you can ever get. Hockey, when you go to a hockey game, it is so different from watching a game on TV. You can really feel the speed. You can feel the hits. The atmosphere is very exciting. And the same way with the Ramones. It's like, I wish more people knew about the Ramones. Like, same way, I wish more people would like get turned on to NHL hockey and going down to the Sharks. And for you, Jake, I'm sure you know this totally, bro. I have always loved the U2 cover of I Remember You, which they did on that Irving Plaza show in New York City before the Elevation tour. It's beautiful. Like, it's a totally different arrangement. It's just the Edge and Bono playing. They turn it into a ballad. It's just it's a beautiful moment. And all those U2 guys are Ramones fans. I mean, they've influenced everybody from Nirvana to Green Day and Pearl Jam. I mean, the list goes on forever. But I just wish like more people knew about them and how they're basically a pop band disguised as punks, because all their songs are pure pop and they're beautifully written pop songs with heavy guitars, which I love. And same with the Sharks, man. If more people get turned on to the Sharks, it'll be a better world overall. Same with the Ramones. If people can discover, so 2 kind of cult things I'm putting together: Ramones and Sharks hockey. Boom.
Love it.
So
yes.
Be on the brat.
Totally.
baseball.
Yes. With a baseball bat. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean,
What about is there any way to do just a speedy honorable mentions without really digressing? Just a speedy honorable mentions?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Bring it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jake, do you have any?
I haven't thought of like the sports side, but I could name music. I want to hear yours.
Okay. I just have a few quick honorable mentions. Okay. Bruce Springsteen. 2014 Mad Bum.
Nice.
Just heart.
Yeah.
Somehow just like USA. I don't know. Just like all grit.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's happening. I don't know how he's still out there.
Right.
Just mowing them down.
I'll give you a Johnny Cash and Mad Bum also.
I like it.
Nice.
I like it. I also got the kind of almost big band, The Replacements.
Yeah, bro. Yes.
The Mats, one of my favorite bands, and I'm gonna go with them and the Humm Baby Giants.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man. Nice.
And like, just like what's interesting about both of those is like sometimes folks are like, oh, if only they almost made it, talking about The Replacements. And I think same thing with like that era of Giants baseball was almost there. But like sometimes what you realize is you don't actually need to go all the way to mean a lot. And seeing Will Clark get that knock up the middle against Mitch Williams, I was watching that in my after school program on a tiny television with everybody watching it.
Nice, man.
And like, that's like formative shit. So yeah, just like, I like how both of them are like almost, but it doesn't matter. That's part of actually what they occupied. They occupied the almost. Nice. And there's something beautiful about the almost. That's heart. That is like, we try and sometimes we get over the hump. Sometimes we don't.
Beautiful.
All right.
Beautiful.
Ask one more real quick. The example I gave.
I got one last thing too, real quick. Sorry.
Come on, Paulie.
Only because I just mentioned the Ramones and now Ashkon just mentioned the Replacements. Just a little trivia here or information for you to take along with you. I think is a great Replacements album. The album called Tim, T-I-M, Tim. That album was produced by Tommy Ramone of the Ramones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now he uses his real name. It doesn't say Tommy Ramone on the record. It says like Tommy Edridge or whatever his real name was. But that was Tommy Ramone, and I think it's the best sounding Replacements record they ever made. So anyway, just food for thought. There you go.
Paulie, and back to the U2 Ramones connection. Bono was it Joey's bedside when he died and played him in A Little While?
Yes.
You wanted to hear In a Little While.
Yes. Yeah. And I got to tell you, when I heard that story, it made me look at that song in a whole different perspective. Like, think about that. Joey Ramone, that was the last song he ever heard in his life. He
requested it. It was mind blowing.
And Joey Ramone had those same kind of penchant for like beautiful melodies that Bono has. Like they were kindred spirits that way. Yeah, that was a beautiful story. Yeah.
And just one last one as the example I gave these guys in the initial email. I want to do Tupac, like Bay Area years Tupac, 91 through 94, and Ricky Waters. Those two were my favorite combo in that 3 or 4 year period.
Yeah.
Ever.
Hey. Ricky running Waters.
Dude, Ricky running Waters and Tupac Shakur.
There's no 94 without Ricky Waters. We don't get that Super Bowl in 94 without Ricky Waters, man. Period.
No. Love watching him run.
Me too.
And fun, guys. This was a good
great
time.
Seeing you. Ashkon, great seeing you, bro.
You too, Paulie. Yeah, this is a fun conversation. And really cool to reconnect with you after all these years.
Thanks, man. Yeah. And Jake, thanks for putting this together, bro. We'll definitely do it again.
For sure. Much like the Ted Raimi episode, this went amazingly. This was a blast, and we'll get Brooks on next time, and we'll try to get these together as much as possible. So thanks everyone for watching, all the PMPers that came out. Thanks for keeping the chat line hot. And Ashkon, Paulie, well done. Thank you, gentlemen.
Cheers, you guys. Have a good weekend.
All right.